Got dreams of being a professional podcaster, but have no idea what you're doing?
This is impossible.
That's about to change.
A new kind of school.
Welcome to the Pod School Podcast.
Hello, Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful break. We are right back into it. It is time to get back into the podcasting tips. Today, I'm going to do a bit of whip cracking. If you are one of those people that takes a long time to get into the meat and potatoes of your podcast content, may I ask you so politely to please stop. One thing I notice a lot with podcasts that don't end up going anywhere is that they waffle and waffle and waffle. Sometimes if you are new to presenting, it can be a nerves thing or alternatively a warming up thing, especially if you've got a co-host. There can be a real sense of, okay, let's warm the audience into this, let's warm ourselves into this, but your audience are already pressing play with the expectation that they want your content and they want to listen to your show. You do not want to give them any chance, especially if they are brand new to your content, to think it's 5.5 minutes in and I haven't really heard anything. I'm not going to bother. People are time poor. They have a lot of options for content and entertainment, and it is really important that you get to the crux of what you're doing right off the bat. If you need some warm-up time with your co-host, that is 100% fine. Just record it and then scrap it, or record it and then start the show proper and just edit out that front bit where you were sort of wasting time. Less is always, always, always going to be more. You want your audience at the end of every episode to think, oh, it's over. I want more already. The stats are showing that the majority of people don't even make it through 15 minutes of your content. And if you're doing an hour show and you haven't even gotten to the content or the meat of what you're talking about by the 20th minute, then your audience is not going to stick around. And you want them, if possible, to want to eat your entire episode, not sort of sample and then bugger off again. Your audience has so much choice in front of them. You want to be respectful of their time and make sure that you realize that you need to just give them what they've come there for really quickly. And usually the waffling and the babbling and the getting comfy is more about you and your co-host than it is about your audience. And you always need to think, what is best for the people who are coming to my show and putting it in their ears. Even when it comes to resetting the idea behind your show, which is a good idea because with each new episode there might be new listeners, but that kind of thing can be done in one simple sentence. At the beginning of most of my shows, I will usually have a tagline for the episode that explains to the audience what the show is. With You've Got to Start Somewhere, my tagline is the podcast that goes behind the scenes of show business to prove there's no such thing as an overnight success. That means that at the beginning of every episode, I don't need to explain what that is. It's pretty easily understood from that line, but it just sets the expectation for the audience without me having to stop into every episode and explain what the idea is and why I'm doing it. Similarly, with this podcast, it sets up that it is a podcast about podcasting, and that's what it's here to teach you. So it is really important to set up who you are and what you do with your audience, but you don't need to go into explicit detail. In fact, you should just be able to do a super quick elevator pitch in that introduction to get new listeners up to speed, and then just get bang on into exactly what you want to deliver them. It is a tough market out there, and it is a lot easier to fail as a podcast than it is to succeed. So to give yourself the best chance of success, you really have to prove to an audience that they are going to not be wasting their time by coming to your show. If you've got people that listen and have been listening for years, then they're a little bit more forgiving if it takes you a little longer to get to things because they built a relationship with you and they might just like hearing you talk at this point. But with every new podcast episode, you are opening yourself up to a brand new audience. So every single show needs to be presented like it's the very first time. And that means not getting self-indulgent or complacent, but really giving your best content up front and really quickly so your listener can get into it and is never thinking, oh, can they just hurry up? I've got better things to do with my time. So there you go. whip cracked. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you are enjoying the shows, please head to iTunes and leave a review so other people can find it if they are interested in creating their own podcast too. And if you would like a little bit more hand-holding in the creating your own podcast world, then head to podschoolpodcast.com where you'll find a link to my online podcasting course, Podschool. Right, that's it from me. I will see you next week. And until then, happy podcasting.
That's all for today.